So cognitive computing, we know, has grown in interest. When IBM first started talking about this last year, we were one of the few that used the term cognitive. There were others that were talking about artificial intelligence or machine learning. But now as we see the start of that trend, as it was just a baby last year, has grown and now become cognition. So let's start with the basics. What is cognitive? Well, cognitive is software that understands. You have to teach it with a corpus of knowledge, but it understands. It reasons, it thinks, and it learns. Most importantly, it learns. It learns traits, trends, behaviors to really have an impact in the marketplace. It is not AI, it's not machine learning, it's all of those things on steroids plus. It's bigger than. And if you think about it, from last year when I first started talking about cognition, I want to show you some differences. Now remember, last year I showed you numbers that were in the 20s and 30s. Take a look at the growth now. So last year, 20% of healthcare providers were going to invest in cognitive. This year and beyond, it's 95%. Financial services, last year, 32%. This year, 88%. And if we want to look forward, developers, today, only about 1% of developers embed cognition into their applications. But based on the trend, 50% are going to embed cognition into what they're doing. So this is definitely a trend you don't want to be left behind on. You want to make sure that you're embedding this into your business processes, your application, leveraging and using this as you move along. Now, a lot of times for me, I'm visual, so I wanted to make sure that you guys saw what this actually was. So I wanted to just take a snapshot of some of the cognitive services. So you'll see over on the left, when Watson was born at IBM, she was playing, I did say she, I saw those notes pop up, I did say she was playing chess, right? And she was doing Jeopardy. And on Jeopardy, it was really about a Q&A engine, right? Just a Q&A engine. Now, there's so many other things. There's relationship orientation. There's visualization. There's trade-off analysis. There's a whole set of APIs around text to language, which is really important for conversation. And so these cognitive services have grown, and they've grown in their use, and I'm going to show you visually. I'm going to do a demo of one, just because we don't have enough time. I'm also going to show you how you can go and do it, and then I'm going to also show you an inclination of it inside of a robot, so you can see how it's also being used. So these services are all available today. If you're part of IBM's Global Entrepreneur Program, you actually get access to these for free for up to a year. And you can use them, play with them. If you're not part of it and you just want to play with it, if you go to the developer cloud, you can do like I do and go and play with all of these services and see how they work. You can input your own data set. So the service I'm going to show you today in a quick demo is visualization, because I think this is really quite powerful. I'm actually working with an entrepreneur on visualization today. So let me just show you a very quick demo. So now you guys all know that you have to train for cognition. The computer's not just naturally smart. So you have to develop what we call a corpus of knowledge. And in visualization, that corpus means you've got to have pictures that are positive images of what you're trying to teach, but also negative images. So much like you train your own children, right? In fact, I'm honored today to have my daughter here from, she's my little Python developer sitting right up here in the front row. So just as you train your children, right, with positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement, the same thing is what you do for Watson. So let me just do it. This is just a really quick little demo. You're going to see us train Watson to recognize pizza. So hopefully you're going to see up there, you're going to see us type in pizza. We've already preloaded the positive images of pizza and the negative images of pizza. And then Watson, she's going to think and learn and train, just like your kids do homework, or you practice on tests, or you do Quizlet, so that you can learn what's going on And now you're going to test. And so we're picking a picture of a pizza, and we're going to ask Watson, is that pizza or is that not pizza? And so in this case, 66% accuracy of this is a pizza. But now we're going to try to trick Watson. We're going to have a pizza pan with spaghetti and meatballs on it. We're going to ask Watson, is that pizza? And what did she say? No, not a pizza. I know that that's not a pizza. Now, that's a simple demo. You can load your own pictures online for free. Try it out. But what are the applications that you could leverage and use this for? Well, one, I'm working with a startup in the insurance space. And instead of just being able to take a picture of your car and then type in all the information about the accident, we've now trained Watson to recognize the make and the model of the car, what the damage is. It recognizes a cracked window, a scrape, a bump, whatever that is coming in. It also can analyze the weather because it's hooked into the weather APIs, so it can also provide to the insurance team, you know, it was hailing, it was raining, what else was going on. And soon this could be even broader. And you could imagine using visualization in many of the things that you do today. So let me show you another one of my very favorite uses. This is very business focused, I have to say. This is Watson playing rock, paper, scissors. You guys know rock, paper, scissors? Yeah, okay. So rock, paper, scissors, if you think about it, this is Marvin, and this is a he. So Marvin is playing rock, paper, scissors. Now, think about what we had to teach Marvin, how he had to learn. First of all, he has to visually see, is it a rock, is it paper, is it scissors? He analyzes who's he playing, a man or a woman. Now, why would that be important? Well, 80% of the time, men, when they play rock, paper, scissors, they start with the rock. Power, force. And so if you want to beat a man, what do you play? You play paper. So if you are playing a woman, 80% of the time, she will start with scissors. And so if you're going to beat a woman, you're going to hit the rock. So he has to analyze who he's playing. We also ask the person he's playing to enter in their Twitter handle. So Marvin also analyzes the personality of who you're playing, right? Because you're going to play more than one. You're going to play multiples. So analyze it. So win rate here is very, very high. But imagine this. This is a robot that has the ability to see, to reason, to do trade-off analysis, personality analysis. All of those things he is analyzing and using in order to play this game. Now, how would you use that in the real world? Well, we work with the Conrad Hotels, the Hilton, and this is their concierge robot. And have anybody experienced this? I just actually was greeted by nobody yet? Okay. So the concierge robot comes in, and I think it's really quite cool. So you can go up to the robot and you can say, I want to go to the art museum today. Where's the closest art museum? And he'll tell you, well, the closest art museum is here. But now the Hilton has trained the concierge to upsell. Well, if you want to go to that museum, did you know there's a special exhibit of Monet? You can pay an additional $5, you can go see Monet. So now we've got not just answering a question, but also upsell and cross-sell. And actually the upsell cross-sell here is about 40% higher than a person. So interesting. So natural language, speech to text to speech, dialogue, trade-off, engagement, and doing all this analysis. So you can see cognition has come a long way. And if you today are a startup and you're not using it, this is something you need to start thinking about and using and leveraging in your applications. Okay, that's our trend number one. Trend number two I want to talk about is now IoT, but IoT with a twist, with an upgrade. Combining Internet of Things with that cognition. So now you're implying not just gathering the data, but using intelligence and infusing that intelligence into all of the systems around the Internet of Things. So if you think about this, the true value that we've talked about last year, and I saw many speakers last year here at TIE talk about the opportunity in IoT, it was about the sensors, the hardware, and it was about the data. But I'm actually originally from Texas, and so we know oil. And if you have oil on your land, you're really excited, but only until you can refine that oil, because that's where you make your money, is when the oil is refined. The same thing is true that we've learned over the last year on IoT. The sensors are important, the data is important, but where you make your money is in the intelligence. It's in the analysis of the data. And that's why the new trend, we believe, is cognitive IoT. We're seeing that bear out as well in the numbers. So if you see the interesting information, $7.4 billion was spent by VCs investing in IoT companies, but the most money, more than 50% of the money, went to those companies who had a plan to optimize the data, to apply intelligence to the data. Not just the sensors as the year before, but people who are being able to analyze the data. And now, because of that intelligence that's being embedded inside, we're seeing that global businesses, enterprises who will consume that technology are now sitting at $4.5 trillion as they move forward. So a lot of money can be made here. And again, our advice for startups is the sensors are important, the data is important, but what you really have to make sure of in your solution is that you've got the analysis of the data, and that data enables someone to take action on what's happening. So let me show you an example that I think is interesting around data. I don't know how many of you guys saw this on the runway, the fashion show. Did anybody see the cognitive dress? Okay, great. All the women are raising their hands. This is good. Okay. But the men should raise your hands, because the fashion industry, wearable IoT, and applying cognition to it is growing right now at 119%. It's going to be an amazing industry. So on the left-hand side, if you look at hashtag cognitive dress, you're going to see that in this dress designed by one of the great fashion designers for the New York City runway, we provide cognition into the sensors. So let's talk about that for a second. So as she wears the dress, when she moves, you've got IoT in the dress to show when she's moving. When she's moving, the dress is lit up. But when she stops to talk to someone so that it's not distracting, the dress stops lighting up so that it's calm, so that you can talk to the person. In addition, you can also do hashtag cognitive dress and change the color of the dress. So during the evening, while she's wearing this beautiful white dress, if you thought, wow, you know what? She would look great in red. All of you guys could get together, hashtag cognitive dress, and turn the dress red. Very cool, right? The other feature that we had in there, which we had to modify a bit, was we also connected the sensors to the heartbeat, so that the dress and the colors and the lights change as your heart was beating. But we found when something exciting happened, it was too fast, right? And of course, for practical purposes, if you were going on a date, you wouldn't want to show that your heart rate was racing, right? So we had to change that. On the right-hand side, and this is something I'm very passionate about, which is the next generation of technologists that are out there. We have found that teaching young girls and young men about technology in a fun way is the way to hook them, so that this room continues to be filled for the next 20 years. And so working with Intel, with IBM, and a startup called 360 Fashion, we have also now produced a kit. And inside the kit are sensors, our fabric that has LEDs embedded into it. It's washable, one of the big challenges with wearable IoT. And kids can take that and create a tunic, a cover for their computer that now has embedded sensors in it, but you can also code it, leverage the cognitive APIs, and have the colors change as you're sensing something, learning something, doing something. We've released the kit first in China. We'll take it to India in June, and then it will come into the United States. And we believe if the results so far in China are any indication, this will be a great way for kids to start learning the next generation of technology. So I showed you these two fun things to talk about cognitive IoT. This is a growing space, something that's being used everywhere. You know, last year we talked about it being used in oil